Francie.
Here.
Amanda Capola.
Here.
Lynn Steiner. Here. Natalie Kaczynski. Here. Carrie Taylor.
Here.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Yep.
Abstain? Motion carries. May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda as presented? So moved.
Second.
Any items to be pulled for individual discussion? Maria, please call the roll.
Sarah O'Leary.
Yeah.
Francie Hager.
Yes.
Amanda Capola. Yes. Lynn Steiner.
Yes.
Natalie Kaczynski. Yes. Carrie Taylor.
Yes.
Barb Wahman.
Yes, motion carries. Anyone wishing to address the board may do so at this time. If multiple individuals wish to address the board on the same subject, the group is encouraged to appoint a spokesperson. Please state your name and affiliation with the district. You're asked to limit your comments to 3 minutes and abide by the public participation policy of the district. Please understand that the board will not respond to your questions and concerns during the meeting. A member of the administration team and/or board will follow up with you after the meeting. It's the great background.
I know, I'm like, oh, this is a way too formal for me. Name is Katie Coons. I have a kindergarten student at Waterbury. I wrote it down so I'd make sure I get it all in 3 minutes. As a 20-year teacher in elementary school, and I want to address the water main break situation at Waterbury a couple weeks ago. While I totally understand that no plan is perfect, I am really disappointed in the timeline of events and lack of communication afterwards of that day. For some reason, the call to evacuate was not made till 10:35, and parents were only given till 11:15 to drop everything, pick up their child before being bused to a school they've never been to. Why was this call made so late? There were no bathrooms or sprinkler system for over 2 hours with kids present. Why were we then given 40 minutes just to pick up our kids? If the call had been made to evacuate earlier, parents would have had maybe 2 hours to get their kid. As it was, parents who were at the school for pickup, only to learn that their kid was then accidentally bused to the middle school. It was a little bit more chaotic than needed to be. There simply wasn't enough time and enough staff prepared to dismiss kids who were able to go home. As a person who works in elementary school for 20 years, coming from in the building, there were things that could have been done differently. However, these issues could have been remedied with a simple PR email or message to parents at the end of the day, explaining that we understand it wasn't perfect. We already know what to do next, blah, 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 the usual PR email, but nothing was sent out. Nothing was sent out that day or the next day or the day after, which makes parents think like, did we think that went well? So I finally sent an email to the superintendent and CC'd Dr. Pecora as well, asking those same questions. And unfortunately, I was given very few answers. In fact, I was given the PR shtick email that should have been sent out on Monday. Magically, the next day, we get an email from the principal to the whole school. So I want school board to know where leadership needs to improve in a future crisis so parents can be confident that their kids are safe at their school. Your teachers are absolutely amazing. Admin should be the same. And no, I don't believe it would be perfect by any means. On a side note, I think it's also important to have a separate system for emergencies than Parent Square. Many parents have turned it off so that either a digest or you get nothing, which means in an emergency, you don't get it till after the emergency is over. A phone call system that forces it out would be incredibly helpful. My husband had no idea what was going on because he digested everything. I'm like, there's 1,000 text messages. And a very quick side note as well, the website, the Kittyville website needs to be better. You have teachers on there who haven't worked in the district since August, and you have teachers who've worked in your district since August not on there. So please update it so we know who those teachers are. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving forward with the school board president's report, I have not received any self-monitoring report, so moving over to finance and facilities, Sarah.
All right. I don't have numbers today. I just have summary. Aren't you excited? So we met on Tuesday, February 10th. First, we reviewed an update on the district's investments. District funds are invested in several different accounts. Wintrust Bank is used as a checking account for payables and is a money market investment to like short-term stuff or current use stuff. PTMA is used for short-term investments and Fifth Third Bank is used for long-term investments. All of these investments are staggered with varying maturing dates so that money can be taken out as needed. Next, the committee discussed an update on architect services. After reviewing submissions, the district would like to move forward with the DLA architects. We talked about their experience with health, life, safety, and facilities assessments, and also that they have experience with similar sized districts with a lot of positive reviews. Then we also discussed approval of the fiscal year 25 audit, which was part of the consent agenda. This was completed in January. We discussed the difference between accrual and cash-based accounting because they use a different system. And we use a different system, but it all works out to be the same thing. The auditors, I'm sorry, I just said that. The auditors use the accrual basis, and so they move revenues and expenses into the appropriate year. So then we have these final documents, the AFR, the annual financial report, the ACFR, the annual comprehensive financial report, and all of the required communications letters. And nothing was found in the audit that was surprising. Everything was all good. Next, the committee discussed student fees. That's also in tonight's thing. Our recommendation is that there's no increase in student fees or in lunch fees for this year. There will still be an early registration discount through April 30th and a multi-student discount for anybody with 3 or more students in the district. Lastly, we discussed the opportunity to refinance existing bond debt with lower interest rates. So refinancing certain bonds would save taxpayer money over the next 9 years. And then we also talked about make this option to aggressively pay down bond debt, which would increase debt payments in the short term, but would bring additional savings in the long term. So just different things to be weighing and figuring out. The next meeting for finance and facilities is scheduled for April 14th at 6 p.m.
Thank you. SACID, Dr. Castillo.
Yes, the SACID Board of Directors met yesterday, and for approval, there was the proposed school calendar for next school year, similar to what we had last month, and also entering into a license agreement with Skyward. So they're going to use Skyward as their student information system, just like we have. And then also reciprocal reporting agreement and intergovernmental agreement between the Lisle Police Department and SACID. We did have a closed session to discuss personnel items. That's it.
Thank you. Wellness Committee, Amanda.
So the Wellness Committee met on February 19th. Oh no, that is today, I'm sorry. Let me start. The Wellness Committee met on February 5th. The committee's overall vision is to promote wellness, well-being, and self-care for both staff and students. I'm proud to be a member of that committee. I think we do a lot of good stuff there. In December, the Wellness Committee distributed more than 200 jackets to staff as an expression of appreciation for their continued hard work. They're lovely. It was a well-accepted gift. I know many who have already given feedback that they were excited to get those. The first wellness challenge of the new year was the well-being portal. It was a scavenger hunt. The initiative encouraged staff to engage with available wellness resources and to take a proactive step to support their well-being. It included increasing physical activity, managing their stress, improving nutrition, and prioritizing time to recharge. Again, we got good feedback on that from members of the committee who said they used the opportunity to learn new things about their website. Yeah, the next wellness challenge is going to feature an SEL and wellness choice board. Staff will be invited to complete 10 activities from a menu of 25 that are designed to promote social and emotional well-being. The staff who complete a minimum of the 10 activities will be entered into a prize drawing. And lastly, in April, staff will have an opportunity to participate in the 2026 EBC Walk of Fame Steps Challenge. Our next meeting will be April 1st, April Fool's Day. That'll be fun.
Aren't we all? Isn't that spring break?
It's my birthday as well.
Happy
Oh,
birthday.
it's spring break that week, so you might have to readjust.
Maybe.
Maybe you have to come during spring break for a meeting. You never know.
It's spring break. All right, Brian, financial dashboard.
Great, yeah. You're bringing that up here. So we'll look at the dashboard here. This is through January 31st. So about 7 of the 12 months are in the books here. Right. So again, this is through January 31st. Here are the revenues for the fiscal year through January 31st. Most revenues are on track. The very top one, local property taxes, virtually all property tax revenue has come in. State revenues, it's about the 5th one down or so. We've received the 2nd installment of the transportation claim. There's 4 installments over the year. So that kind of caught us up a little bit on state revenues. And then federal revenues are probably trending a little high. We might come in higher than expected in federal revenues due to Medicaid revenue that we received early in the year and just trying to make the most of the federal grants that we do have. All revenues through January 31st are about $25,680,198, or about 89% of budgeted revenues. Here are the expenditures for the year through January 31st. Most expenditures are on track. The only real lines to highlight, and I've brought up in past board meetings, the other objects, that's trending high. That's primarily tuition for outplaced students. SASSA does a prepay model, so we pay a lot on the front end. That's why that's like 93% of budget expenses. We won't pay much till the end of the year where they do a true up. Also capital towards the bottom there, Fund 60 capital outlay. That's largely the Greenbrook expansion project, and the entire project has already been paid for. So we pretty much met all those expenses there. Again, mostly everything else is on track towards expenditures. Total expenses through January 31st are $19,038,379, or about 58% of budgeted expenses. This is the fund balance report through January 31st. So you see total revenues about $24.3 million, total expenditures about $17.7 million. And you have that column of transfers, transfer fund to fund to mainly pay for the Greenbrook expansion project. Ending fund balance for all funds through January 31st, $26,475,148. It's about an 85% fund balance for all funds. And on the bottom right there, you see operating funds. The operating funds fund balance is about $26,041,999, by 92% fund balance, or 337 days on hand for operating funds. This is just a graph of the treasury balance. Again, this is all funds. That's just a graphic representation of that fund balance of $26,475,000. The current year is in yellow. So you just see a comparison to previous years following similar trends to previous years. And again, really spending down against that fund balance. So you see our fund balance lower than previous years. It's kind of that planned spending to bring it more in line with board policy. This next one is just operating funds, so not all funds, but just specifically operating funds. That purple is the current year. Again, following similar trends of previous years, and that fund balance slightly lower than last year, and that planned kind of spending against fund balance. CPI, this is a CPI for January. I left December there, which is 2.7. And then we'll leave that there throughout the year to measure where we are. That December one's a big deal. That's what's used for the tax levy. So that 2.7 will be used for when we do the tax levy at the end of the year. So January came in at 2.4%, which is cooler or lower than what most people expected. This can indicate that the Federal Reserve policy is helping to moderate kind of inflation. Many economists still expect the Fed to do some rate cutting, possibly in the spring or summer. But that's, good news. Overall, CPI is 2.4% for January. And I just wanted to highlight a couple things that's in my board report. We talked about it a little bit, but we did an architect request for qualifications. The district released an architect RFQ. We will need assistance for architect services for health, life, safety inspection, facilities assessments, and long-term facilities planning. We received 9 submissions from very, very capable, very talented architectural firms. So we were very pleased with that. And really, after evaluating those submissions, conducting interviews with the panel, and talking to the references, we developed a short list and then boiled down to 1 DLA architects that we'd like to move forward with. They have experience exactly what we're looking for. Experience in smaller size districts like ours. They work with 1 school districts, we have 4 school districts, and they're local. Their offices in Itasca, and really great references that came back. So the plan is the next few weeks to work with them on a contract and to bring the board a contract with DLA Architects at the next board meeting in March. Approval of the FY25 audit. The audit was completed for the year ending June 30th, 2025. And we talked about it already, but it's done on an accrual basis versus a cash is what we use, where the emphasis on when things are earned or incurred as opposed to when cash, changes hands, so to speak. All that to say they move some revenues expenses back into the correct fiscal year, whereas we do on a cash basis. And then, so like, for example, we received revenue in July, that's the new fiscal year, but it was grant revenue for work that was done in May and June. So the auditors, using their method, moved that back. Mm-hmm. So then they released this AFR, and that's a big deal. That's submitted to ISB. That's on our website. That's on the ISB website, our AFR, every district AFR. And that's pretty much your audited actuals for the year. So FY25 has been audited. It's officially in the books. It's submitted to ISB. So those are the actuals for the year that AFR is. And then they ACFR as well. And they required communication letters from the auditors or in the board packet as well. Some highlights: we're still at the highest financial status recognition. The operating funds fund balance for last school year, about 18.5 million. It's a fund balance of about 71% for operating funds. Operating expense per pupil, about 21,189. That comes out of the AFR. And then in their report, there were no deficiencies in internal controls or material weaknesses. There were no instances of non-compliances, so a good report overall. And then lastly, I just wanted to put this is in your board packet, but I want to put this out to the board. This is an opportunity for the district to refinance some of our current debt. Current bond rates are a little bit lower than when these particular bonds were established in 2016. Refinancing these 2016 bonds would save the taxpayer like $171,000 over the next 9 years.
All of this, like.
Yep, our property tax base, yeah.
Each one.
Yeah. Overall. Right. Overall, it'd be a savings of about $171,000.
Clarification.
Big.
Yeah.
It's like $20.
They actually did Raymond James Servicer bonds, and for a home averaging about $350,000, the savings would be anywhere from like $1 to $4 per home. Yeah,
Right.
spread out. Yeah, each year. Yeah. But it'd be again over the 9 years of savings. So we're thinking about doing this refinancing option to save the district some money, save the taxpayers some money. Another option they presented was to aggressively pay down some of this debt, which would mean we would actually pay more in the next 6 years and levy a little bit more on the taxpayer. But then over 9 years, you're going to pay less. But I think we're leading just straight refinance at the low, capitalize on the lower rates and get this lower overall payment. So that's in the packet. It's not an action item. However, next month, if we move forward with this, I'd like to bring this to the board as an action item next month. Any questions? There's a lot there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Castillo with the student and staff attendance dashboard.
Yes. So you will see the attendance similar to other winter months. There are a few days where we had more than the 10% of our students absent. So if we go to the next slide, there you go. So on the 20th, confirmed it was more illnesses. So that's the first day where we have illness or over the 10%. If we look at the 26th, and we all remember what the 26th is, remember we were off on the 23rd due to it being extremely cold. So their attendance at Greenbrook is amazing. Only 7 students didn't check in online. So, you know, that was great. But then the next day, when they had to come in, which it was also cold, a cold day, it was still cold. We had 68 students out at almost 17%. But the rest looks pretty good. I think this month, aside from those 2 days, they even look better than last month. So if we go to Waterbury, again, Waterbury was pretty much under for every day of the month. And on the 20, if we look at the 26th, they still had, you know, again, the cold day, 40, and they reported 20 students on the 23rd that were absent. And then Springwood, again, our big day, the 26th, which was still cold. But the rest looked pretty good. And just like our students get sick, our staff does as well. Again, Mondays and Fridays are our biggest days, but they're pretty comparable. The days of the week that were off compared from last year to this year. And then administrator, support staff, and teachers. So as I mentioned before, on future years, we'll get a little bit more comparison there. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Continuing with the superintendent's report, Dr. Castillo.
Yes, so school board, at your place setting, you have a pin. So this is from the Illinois Association of School Boards. And as you know, you guys were officially recognized at the spring division meeting on Tuesday, February 3rd. Here is your plaque for the people that weren't in attendance. Okay, so the governance recognition again this year, which is was only given this year to 38 school districts out of the 840 school districts in the state. So that's amazing. So thank you for your leadership and thank you for all that you do for our students. Second item is as we get ready for another registration for the following year, just remind everyone that we're still using CLEAR as our automatic verification of residency.
Yeah.
Thank you. So again, our current families whose residency is confirmed through CLEAR, you don't no longer have to verify again, but only our families with kindergarten students as well as any new families do have to verify residency at their buildings when they register. Okay. And I know our secretaries really love the CLEAR system just because it saves a lot of time on their end.
It's a lot of time on the parents' end.
That's true. Yeah, very true. The third thing I wanted to bring up and talk about is the water main break at Waterbury. So I really want to thank the staff, the administrators, our board member who was there side by side with Lynn, getting kids, making sure everyone was okay and getting them as quickly as possible to their families or transported here. It's during those times that we know we are truly a Keeneyville 20 family where we come together and really make sure that everyone is safe as quickly as possible, especially in a situation like this. So thank you very much. Really appreciate what everyone did that day to ensure our kids were safe as well as our staff. Again, also to our staff here who were ready Mr. Oliano, your staff that were ready here once the buses came. You're ready to assist. Our transportation department was wonderful. We told them we were going to need X number of buses, and they were ready to pick up, drop off, pick up again, and drop off. Luckily, we only had to transport the students one time here, so that worked out well. And then as for general comments, yesterday we had our kindergarten roundup, and this morning we tried something new at Waterbury and had a kindergarten roundup in the morning. It's always nice to see the kindergartners come in and the parents ask their questions. So can't wait to get the school year started and see how registration goes for our kindergarten. So that concludes my report. Next, we're going to have, oh, I'm sorry, any questions? Okay, next we're going to have Dr. Buckley. She's been saving her voice all day because she knew she had this presentation.
But she has a microphone.
I'm going to be absent tomorrow, so it's going to be on the Friday. I had 7 meetings today, so it was just too much to read. And it's my favorite presentation, winter benchmark data. Like we talked in fall that NWEA MAP changed their norms, and they told us that we should expect that our scores would drop, and that all school districts should expect that their scores would drop. And I was bouncing off of my walls when I was doing this data. If you take a look at our second grade MAP reading, the 3 fall are on the left, the 3 winter on the right. Overall, the dark green and the blue together, that's the 51st percentile and above. We went from 48% of our kids to 56% of our kids at or above the 51st percentile. Our teachers are working so hard. Our coaches are working so hard, and our kids and our parents are working so hard. So I was so very excited to not see the drop that they said that we should expect. In 3rd grade, we see the same thing, the dark green to the blue at or above the 51st percentile, from 42% of our kids in the district to 50%. So half of our kids at or above the 51st percentile. 4th grade, we always take a very close look at 4th grade. 4th grade is the kids who were in 1st grade during COVID. So this data always looks a little different to us, and we know that we have to intervene more in 4th grade, but we did see a jump from 45% of our kids to 51% of our kids in the dark green and the blue. And we saw the largest drop in students below the 10th percentile in the red. And in 5th grade MAP, from the 25th to the 50th, so the light green into the dark green, we saw an increase from 55% to 54 or 64%. I was extremely happy with our reading data. Moving on to math. This is the first time that 1st grade takes the math assessment. We went for, or that's not true. Sorry. They don't take reading until the spring. They went from 61% to 66% of our students at or above the 50th percentile. If they are scoring this high now, we can have very, very high hopes for in 3rd grade when they start taking that IAR. We're doing fantastic things in math. In 2nd grade, from the 51st to the above, 42% to 57% of our students. In 3rd grade, we again see a dip in the students who were below the 10th percentile. So the students who were probably receiving interventions already, we saw those numbers go down. And then from the 51st to the 100 to the above, 54 to 68%. That is huge, massively huge growth. In 4th grade, math is their thing. They're definitely, these 4th graders definitely like math a little bit more than they like reading. And at or above the 51st percentile, we went from 53 to 65%. It's fantastic. And in 5th grade, it stayed pretty consistent. However, if you take a look at the students who were below the 10th percentile, so in the red, You can see the number doesn't even show up. It's 3, 4, and 3. So we cut those numbers in half based on classroom interventions and intervening and pull-out interventions. Moving on to Springwood. Springwood, 6th grade. They from 10% of their students at or below the 10th percentile down to 5. So they cut that number in half. And then at or above the 51st percentile, they went from 55% of their students to 59% of their students. In 7th grade, they were pretty consistent. There was a little bit of a drop in the students at or above the 76th percentile, but they were pretty consistent. And in 8th grade, take a look at that jump from fall to winter, up to 76% of their students. 65%, sorry. Math. Thank you, Manny. At 6th grade, we went from 47 to 55% of the students at or above. In 7th grade, we see a decrease again in the percentile of students that were below the 10th percentile. So they went from 5 to almost 2. It's a little over 2. And in 8th grade, they made a slight jump from the 51st and above, from 54 to 57% in red. And it's very difficult at the middle school level to see growth, because we know that students have to be at grade level by 3rd grade in order to make sure that they can be very successful in middle school and high school. And it's very hard to see growth, and our Springwood staff push our students, and they're doing a fantastic job. Moving on to FastBridge data, knowing that this was going to probably cut out on you, I only put on the main slides. So there's not the individual like letter name and letter sound. Kindergarten, this is their first time taking this test, and this is in our English taught classrooms. This measures letter names, letter sound, initial sounds, blendings. So we're starting off in a really fantastic place with our kindergartners. And again, it's their first time taking the assessment, and they take it with a teacher that they don't know, and it's one-on-one. We're starting off in a really strong place. In our dual language classrooms, and as a reminder, half of these students, we have 2 parents sitting here, half of the students in our dual language classroom come from English speaking homes. So they are learning to read and write in Spanish, and their home language is English. So we're going to see a deficit in these scores because these are in Spanish and they're just learning Spanish, and they're coming from homes where English was spoken. So we're looking forward to seeing our spring scores from our dual language classrooms. In 1st grade in our English taught classrooms, Waterbury had a great drop from fall to winter in the students that were at or below the 10th percentile. And Greenbrook stayed very consistent with the number of students that were at or above the 25th percentile. And it's again testing letter name, letter sound, blendings, fluency, but it gets harder obviously as they go into 1st grade. And our 1st grade dual language classrooms, again, where half of the students' home language is English. It was very consistent with last year's data, and Greenbrook saw an increase at or above the 50th percentile from 29% of their students to 38% of their students learning to read and write in Spanish at or above the 51st percentile. It's unbelievable. Early math, so we're testing their basic numeracy skills. If we put 3 numbers in front of them, can they put them in order? Can they count up? Can they count backwards? Can they find a discrepancy between the numbers? We stayed very consistent from fall to winter, except with a drop in Waterbury at their students that were at or below the 10th percentile. They saw a very big drop. Now, 2nd grading, this test is more like MAP. It's called A reading. It's a little bit more consistent like MAP. It's not individual. It's not a one-on-one assessment. The students take it on their computers. We did see a little bit of a drop at our per students at or below the 10th percentile, but it is a little bit different than MAP. So we need to take a dive into this data with our grade level teams, because they're doing a fantastic job with their coaches and their admin at really, really looking at their MAP data. So now looking at our FastBridge data to figure out where is FastBridge saying some of the deficits are as well. So for A reading and A math, you'll see that the scores are very consistent from fall until winter. Third grade, again, staying very consistent with some minimal movement at the students that were at or below the 10th percentile. And fourth grade, again, this is that grade level that we spend a lot of time making sure that we have appropriate interventions. So we did see a jump in the students that are at or below the 10th percentile, especially at Greenbrook. However, I know that they've been hyper focused on looking at state standards and MAP and preparing for IAR. So just make sure that next time we take a little bit of a closer look at Fastbridge, because I know they're working so hard. And fifth grade, again, the data is very consistent from fall to winter. Fastbridge A math, again, is like MAP. It's not one-on-one, it's on the computer. Just like I stated with reading, very consistent. We do see a drop, a little bit of a drop in our students that are at or below the 25th percentile. So the yellows and the reds, we saw a drop there. Third grade. We see some growth at Waterbury at the students that are at or above the 25th percentile. And at Greenbrook, we see a drop at the students that are at or below the 10th percentile. So we're pushing at both ends, making sure that we're meeting all of their needs. Again, very consistent and with from fall to winter in fourth grade. And in fifth grade, it looks almost exactly the same. So I'm very, very proud of our teachers. I'm very proud of our principals and our admins for the hard work that they're doing. Greenbrook specifically is working with the DuPage ROE. They're meeting with the teachers every week, looking at their IAR data, looking at the standards. The coaches are there helping pick apart the data. Springwood is doing individual goal setting with their students, and the students are so excited to tell you how much progress they're making. I'm very proud of the work that we're doing. Our teachers are coming, like our elementary teachers are coming into their stride with HMH. Next year, we'll see a full year of implementation with Amplify at the middle school. We're in a really fantastic place, and I can expect to see continued growth. Have any questions? All right. Thanks. I'm not going to do my other report in your packet if that's okay. Thanks.
Colleen.
So I recently met with one of our service providers called Referral GPS, and so I thought I'd give you a little overview of what Referral GPS is and then how our district is utilizing it. Referral GPS is a care coordination platform. It's designed to help schools connect students and families with appropriate community-based mental health and wellness providers. What it does is it centralizes the referral system so schools can submit, track outside providers in one secure platform. Families are connected to pre-vetted mental health and support providers. They can receive help navigating insurance, availability, providing matching. So a family could come to us, tell us their insurance. We could put into the system. It'll do all the work for them. They can tell me if they prefer a male or a female, if they prefer someone who maybe's focus is on depression or anxiety, and Referral GPS will send the referrals to them and help set up those appointments. How it helps families, it simplifies that process with trusted providers. It matches families based on needs, insurance, and language, as well as location. It reduces wait times through coordinated outreach. It also provides support during the referral process. And it removes that burden of navigating some of those complex mental health systems alone, as well as whether your insurance will coordinate with it or not. Some of the numbers, so we've been utilizing Referral GPS for about 3.5 years now. And treatment searches conducted have been 3,840. 1,293 treatment profiles have been viewed. 493 treatment websites have been viewed. 122 treatment resources have been printed. 139 treatment phone numbers have been viewed. Families can also access this directly on the website, so they don't necessarily have to go through the school social workers to get some support. Some of the other numbers that I thought were pretty impressive were, it sounds like a low number, but it's really not. But 2 of our families got that wraparound navigation care service. So someone was with them through the whole process and continued to check in and found other resources that came up. And one family was fully funded through referral GPS. So insurance didn't cover some things and referral GPS picked up the bill. So it's a really wonderful resource that we have in the community. And so I thought that would be great to share. Any questions? Thank you.
Mr. Oliano.
I'm sharing some great things that are going at Springwood. First off, we're very lucky at the middle school to have common grade level plan times where teachers across the grade level get to meet. And previous, when years back, we used to call it Kid Day. It's a bad word now to say, so that's the last time we're going to say it. So we changed it to Bag Day. And it talked about its behavior, attendance, and grades. And something we brought back this year, which we're excited about. It's about having a roundtable discussion about the student, about the whole child. So we do talk about attendance, we talk about grades, we talk about behavior, but what's the whole child? And I'm really excited about that because a lot of times when in the past, when I was a teacher, it was all about, okay, admin or a case psychologist, what are we doing? And now it's a roundtable discussion. What are we all doing? And some people are like, hey, I have a good relationship with that student. Let me meet with them before school or during study hall. I know some of the social workers or the admin or some of the paras have met up with these students because of these discussions. So it takes a full team. It takes everyone to help out that whole child. So we're excited about that. Do we have some tweaks to do? Yep. We're always looking to make it better. And we'll get stronger next year. Our EL students finished their access testing. Anyone who has dealt with this is just a huge task. And huge shout out to Circle Lolos Stelter and Maria, our librarian, always trying to, how do we get these kids removed from class so they get the testing? It is a disruption in the school day, but they do their best job. And I want to give them a huge shout out. It is not an easy task at all. Springwood, I messed up. All right, Springwood participated in the Dare to Dream Latinas Conference at College of DuPage. I will be meeting with and the admin, so Mr. Fogarty and Mr. King will be meeting with all the students in the next 5 days. We call them ELA chats. We kind of look at what are some things that we need to start changing and improving on and some things we could celebrate on. And we meet with every single child within our school in the next 5 days, which is exciting. That's something that this admin team has brought along. The boys and volleyball season has officially begun. Vision and hearing, I know I just gave EL, Ms. Circa and them a shout out, but vision and hearing, another task that is not easy. But Lisa from Waterbury and Eunice and Kelly from Springwood, making sure that we get those kids out of the classroom, least distraction, get them back in the classroom. Of course, we have to do announcements. That's the real world. But they get them right back in the classroom right away. So shout out to them. Lake Park has visited our NJHS students. And the lady who reached out when the teachers from Lake Park reached out to me afterwards and was just so impressed with just the conversations that our students had with that staff member about their goals for the future and what they would like to do. I know Omar and I have talked about just today about getting our students actively talking about being a teacher or what is their next step and things that we have to do at the middle school level for sure. One exciting thing is we are talking with Lake Park and using some of their resources. And we're talking about next year of how could we get that gap closer as of where our 8th graders, our 7th graders, our 6th graders are already talking about that next level, even before they get to Lake Park. 8th grade today had their field trip to Chicago Wolves All-State Arena. And 2 more, just where I always try to end with like something really positive and awesome. I have a great staff at Springwood. I'm very lucky. And I want to say that what is nice is that just leading up to our meeting in the Ms. Circa's room, I had 6 staff members just in my room all the way to the last point. I was like, okay, you got to get in my office because I get something done. But they just wanted to just talk life, wanted to be supportive. They were sharing stories. I'm very extremely lucky to have loving and caring staff because I know we talk about MAP scores and I know we talk about the behaviors and stuff, but just have colleagues that are that close to an administrator is I'm lucky to have those members who always are so supportive. And then the last one, the middle school chair explosion 2026. So Medina hosts a cheerleading competition at Lake Park. And a lot of the students and staff from all the schools go and attend it. It's an awesome event. Medina does a really great job, but I would have to say something about Springwood. I had some parents from other schools come up to me and it was quite amazing. Every staff member that entered while they're waiting for it to start, our cheerleaders cheered for the staff member. So you don't really get that much. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, that's my teacher. I don't cheer that teacher. But no, like Mr. Campbell walked in there and the whole cheerleading team was cheering Campbell. Our Kelly, our nurse came in, they were cheering her name. We were the only school that was doing that. And I would have to say the girl who was running it from Medina came up to me and she said, our section of parents and also staff was by far the most cheering for all the schools. So I know we talk about MAP scores. I know we talk about those other things, but we are doing great things here. It's about the whole child. So I appreciate you guys always supporting us. Thank you.
Nicole?
Sorry, it's my mini me. She thought she was coming up, but then she's like, no way, this is for you, Mom. Well, first of all, I also want to thank all of our staff. January is a very busy month for different reasons. So it's all of our benchmark testing, and then you add into the fact the weather and e-learning, and it was just a very busy month for them. And then we come into February, and it's busy for a different reason because it's like just event galore. Like there's always something going on that's really fun. So thank you to all of our staff members who work hard every single day to make sure that our students are growing, as you heard in our data. And are also just very happy and loving school because that's also important. So some of the events we've had going on this month, it is Black History Month. So a lot of our teachers it's kind of embedded into our social studies curriculum. So they're talking about different things from Black history. We also have our art teacher who's doing projects. We did our hot cocoa event. They got to also write and kind of finish Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. So what their dreams are for the future, which was really nice to see. I did enjoy the one student who wrote he would love to see inflation drop. I was impressed that he knew what inflation was. I think I might need to talk to him about my portfolio. But it was really nice to see what their thoughts were. We also had 100th day. So some of our students took that aging serum and became 100-year-olds, and we had little grannies and grandpas walking around Waterbury, which was really nice to see. We also had our very first, or kind of brought back our Olympics opening ceremony at Waterbury. So we actually had a fake torch and passed it from grade level to grade level, and then ended on assembly in the gym to highlight the opening ceremony, and also just talk to them about sportsmanship and like the importance of the Olympics. It was really nice to see because like on Monday, we actually could hear them talking for the first time about some of the events they got to watch over the weekend. And that was really, really nice to see that it made an impact. We had last week our PBIS hot cocoa event. So every student gets the standard hot cocoa free of charge, and then they can use their paws to add toppings. And so we also had allergy-free options for our students who have allergy needs. And so that's nice that we have a separate table so that they can get what they need and enjoy the event too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We try. We're learning every year. There's a lot more allergies than you think. We have our talent show next week. We have staff performing. We have students performing. It's always a good time. So we're really excited about that. And we also have Read Across America next week. I know there's several of our board members as well as community members that are going to come out and read. And it's always really a great event just to have people come and read with our students. And then finally, as we talked about it, we had kindergarten roundup. We had overall about 25, 26 families between the 2 days come and learn more about our kindergarten programs, both dual and monolingual. And I think that's it. Next month, as we get ready, it is preparing for IR. So as we get to celebrate, now it's back to getting ready and grinding for some testing. So thank you.
John?
Evening. A lot of things are the same and going on in the school and Lake District and everything else like that. But it is hard to believe that we're already at our 100th day this school year. It's flying by really quickly and everything else like that. So we did celebrate the 100 days. Our kindergartners celebrate the 101 days. If you have not seen the video of the Dalmatians running wild over at Greenberg School, it was a sight to see, and the kids really enjoyed it, and they love doing that. I'm proud to share that we're working towards our school-wide goal with our Grader Cafe. We have completed level number 2, and we're almost at level number 3. And the kids are every day, they are looking at that meter to make sure we get that. They're really excited and gung-ho about that. I know Dr. Buckley talked a little bit about us working with our coaches, our Greenberg staff, and the DuPage ROE, preparing for our ISET testing next month. I am happy to say that the ILT team and all the staff have really taken this on as something that we really want to focus on, and we really want to try to know, and not just each individual, but as a whole building. And we've kind of come up with a plan. We've got schedule changes. We have younger grade levels partnered up with older grade levels. They're going to be making signs and things before testing. The younger grade levels are showing support each day of testing. They have different encouragements for the students to go on and everything. So we got a big thing celebrating for testing to try to change that whole anxiety piece to make it that a test is coming and more like a celebration and a happy time, and we can all support each other on that. We did have our parent-teacher conferences on Friday, and this is one thing staff brought this up a long time ago, and I'm just so proud that they want to keep it going. The staff on Friday, the parent-teacher conferences, when parents aren't able to attend or anything else like that, staff just picks up the phone and just starts calling people at home and just trying to give messages out. And the number of calls that they're able to make that day, besides just individuals, things like that, is awesome. So I just appreciate all their effort on that. We're also working at trying to get our 5 essentials taken care of and everything else like that. We're trying to work on and make sure we get it all in. And I have to say that as of today, we had 60 parents fill that 5 essentials survey out so far. And that's the highest we've had in the last 3 years. So I really appreciate that and everything else. Thank you.
Andy?
All right, at the ECC, we have had a lot of screening. We had our 4th of 5 screenings, just preschool screenings for the year. And we did get several more students, so we only have about a handful of spots open. So that's great that we know, and we know that we will get some kids from early intervention this spring to fill those spots. So we're really excited that we are able to give that many students that opportunity to have that school experience before kindergarten. We also did vision and hearing screening, which is always interesting with the little ones. And sometimes they understand it and sometimes they don't. But it's really important that we try, because we have had kids that have gotten glasses from that, have had to get more intensive hearing evaluations through that. So we want to make sure that we are identifying those needs as soon as possible if we can. We had a very fun parent or family engagement activity. We had Animal Quest come, and they bring a variety of different animals for the students. The students sit on the floor and the parents are in the chairs, so they get to come too. And one of the staff members brings the animal around, and the other is talking about all the different things about the animal. And everyone, they just loved it. You might have seen the videos and pictures and things on our social media for the district. So it was a great day. Everybody really enjoyed it. We had a great turnout. So we were really happy with that. We also had our conferences on Friday, and for a lot of those were students who came later in the year who didn't get an opportunity to do that in November. So we had a very nice turnout for that as well. Thank you.
That concludes our reports.
Is. Brian? May I have a motion that the Board of Education approve the 2026-2027 student fees as presented?
So moved.
Second?
Abstain? Maria, please call the roll.
Brent Seehafer,
Yes.
Amanda Capola, yes, Jen Steiner,
Yes.
Natalie Kotarski, yes, Terry Taylor,
Yes.
Farwan Ahmad,
Yes.
Sarah Hilario.
Yeah.
Okay, motion carries. May I have a motion that the Board of Education enter closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity, and discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
Abstain?
No.
Maria, please call the roll.
Amanda Capola.
Yes.
Natalie Kotarski, yes, Terry Taylor,
Yes.
Farwan Ahmad,
Yes.
Sarah Hilario.
Yeah.
Brent Seehafer.
Yes.
Motion carries, and we don't have any action items for after the closed session.
No.
So thank you.